Welcome back to the Suraj Podcast. So chapter 39 ended with a discussion about Tirmal, Baba Gurudutta's eldest son, and how he handled the news that his father had passed away. He decided he wouldn't go to Kiratpur for the funeral rites, but would rather remain under the protection of the emperor and remain in Kartarpur. So chapter 40 now begins, starting off describing how when the news of Baba Gurudutta's death traveled through the subcontinent, everyone who heard it was in shock, and they got ready to reach Kiratpur as fast as they could to pay their respects. So a messenger was first sent to Ramdas. Ramdas is a village not far outside of Amritsar, and that was sent to tell the news to Baba Buddhaji's son, Bhai Panna, who, when he heard this news, he quickly got ready to travel to Kiratpur. On the way, he stopped in Batala, where Baba Gurudutta's in-laws lived, his father-in-law, Rame. He was struck with grief when he heard about this, but he also got ready and he then started to travel with Bhai Panna the next morning. They set off. So when they reached Kiratpur, they met with Guru Hargobind. They first bowed down, they started paying respects to Guru Hargobind, and then they began to discuss the virtues of Baba Gurudutta. So then family members from the Pala lineage, Guru Amardasa's lineage, and the Trehan family, Guru Angad Dev Ji's lineage, they also heard about this, and they came along with their wives as well. But on the way, they all stopped at Kartarpur, as they passed it on the way, and they spent the night there with Tirmal. And Tirmal was telling them all about his plans to stay in Kartarpur and to remain under the protection of Shah Jahan. So he was telling them, when the emperor finds out that I have gone to Kiratpur to pay respect to Guru Hargobind, he will greatly be displeased with me. He'll take away all my wealth and the property that I have here. You should also not go, because you live even closer to Lahore. If the emperor finds out, he will be greatly displeased with you as well, and he might send a force after you. So when Sundar and Paramanand heard this, they both said, so Sundar and Paramanand are from Guru Amardasa's lineage. And they said, we have heard that Shah Jahan has stopped all action against Guru Hargobind. He recognized the glory of Guru Nanak's seat in the world. Now he constantly bows down to the house of Guru Nanak. Now he'll never start any conflict with them, nor will he send any force after them. Tirmal heard this, and he replied, well, I have written a letter to Shah Jahan, and where I have clearly stated that I am under his protection, and to which, when he heard about it, he was extremely pleased. It's best to always be on the good side of the rulers, as one can never anticipate what they might do. Sundar heard this and said, friend, this is something we can't do, to avoid Kiratpur, to avoid Guru Hargobind, especially in such a sad time as this. We live near Lahore, and still no one has said anything against us. This fear that you have, when you talk about this, we've never even heard anybody speak like this, ever. We will leave early in the morning and go quickly to Kiratpur to see Guru Hargobind. Tirmal heard this reply by Sundar, and he stayed quiet. He realized that they were just steeped in love for Guru Hargobind and they wouldn't be won over. But he did spend some time with the son of Datu, who would be the grandson of Guru Angad Dev Ji. And he separated him from the rest of the group. And for a lengthy part of the night, when he was alone with Datu's son, he convinced him to stay in Kartarpur and not to go to Kiratpur. So the next morning, Datu's son, he didn't go, but everybody else, all of Guru Amardasa's lineage, so Sundar and Paramanand, they went to Kiratpur to meet with Guru Hargobind. Also, Jodhrai and his family, who were from the jungle area of Punjab, when they heard, they all got ready to go to Kiratpur. Jodhrai, his son, his brother Salim Shah, and his wife, they all got ready, but also they sent a messenger out to Rupa, the village of Rupa, and Pai Rupa, so he was aware that what happened, and so he could come too with them. Pai Rupa's father, Sadhu, he had passed away at this point, but he had won the game of life. and would not enter again into the life of reincarnation. So this party of people, Jodhrai, all of his warriors, they slowly came to Kyudpur. They sat down with Guru Hargobind in the divan, the court session that had been organized. A great amount of cloth had been placed down so everybody could sit. And everybody, regardless of their social status, the kings from all the way down to the lowly peasant, they all sat together here, and they started to cry. There were so many people that came to see Guru Hargobind at this point. There were, as far as the eye could see, there were Sikhs, and they were all gripped by grief. At that point, Jodhrai, he bowed down to Guru Hargobind, and Guru Hargobind respectfully, seated Jodhrai near him. And Jodhrai then clasped his hands together and said, Baba Gurudutta was the wisest of them all. What was the reason for them leaving for heaven? We haven't heard that he was sick, and yet he quickly passed away. Bhai Panna, Baba Buddhaji's son, and all the other great Sikhs were sitting there, listening when Guru Hargobind responded, saying, if we consider that somebody can die from countless ways, we should recognize that this is all just an act, a play. Whatever destiny is written on one's forehead, the entire world is subject to that and lives according to that writing. However many years, months, days, hours, minutes of one's life is written, a person always lives their life up to that exact moment. However many breaths are written down for that person, that's how many they breathe. And when that is over, that's all they live. So after that, you can't increase it, you can't decrease it. The one who performs all, the divine, does not make any mistakes. That moment doesn't get flipped around, changed, regardless of any efforts made. People who are deluded about this are only deluded because of the illusionary nature of the world, Maya. So for this reason, understand that there isn't any real reason for someone's passing. Whatever the divine does, everyone has to bear that. Everything that is happening is Parameshwar's doing. If you think someone else is responsible for something, you should recognize that person as an idiot. Happiness and pain is distributed out by the Creator. There is nothing else in the world but that divine. Who else is there to kill someone? All the saints have understood this principle. It's just like if someone strikes a tiger with a stick. The tiger keeps his focus on the striker, not the stick itself. But if someone strikes at a dog, the dog will blame the stick for hitting him. The dog will open its mouth and try to bite that stick, but will totally ignore the striker. The manmukhs, those who are fixated on their own mind's musings, they are absorbed in this dog's perspective, kookar drishti. They think that, such and such person or illness is responsible for a death. They think that, that person over there is responsible for why I'm happy. This is how they think. But a Gurmukh, one who's focused on the Guru's teachings, his outlook, his perspective is like a tiger, sher drishti. He understands that both happiness and pain are given by the Creator. He's not attached or repulsed by anything. He understands that both come from Parameshwar, and with this understanding, he stays forever peaceful. But with the outlook of a dog, kookar drishti, having that outlook causes countless vices, which then results in countless reincarnation in the world. So listen, Jodhrai, understand this well when thinking about how Baba Gurudutta passed away. Whatever the Divine Prabhu wants, that truly happens. To understand any other action as separate from that divine will would be false. Listening to this, tears were flowing down from Jodhrai's eyes, and he replied, O Divine Prabhu Guru Hargobind, what you have said is true, but whoever you bestow your grace upon, only they truly understand this perspective. Listening to this, the entire congregation was struck with grief and they were crying, thinking about Baba Gurudutta. Only after crying for a very long time did they stop. And then after that, about 45 minutes after that, Guru Hargobind then told everyone that they should go rest. The Masans then, the community leaders, went to go help those who had traveled there, so they went to get food and supplies for the horses, and also to prepare food for those who had traveled there. So food was prepared and then everybody ate. This was late evening now. So wherever the news that Baba Gurudutta passed away reached, there the Sikhs would quickly come to visit Kirtpur to pay their respects. Bibi Viro, the only daughter of Guru Hargobind and the brother of Baba Gurudutta, so both of them had the same mother, Mata Damodari, Guru Hargobind's first wife who had earlier passed away. When she heard of the news, she quickly arrived in Kirtpur. She was shouting out, "Brother, brother," when she found out the terrible news. Upon reaching Kirtpur, she met with Jodharai's wife and the other Sikh women of the city. Their crying was so loud the entire city could hear it. Guru Hargobind heard this and sent a messenger to tell them to stop crying so loudly, and even then they couldn't stop the grief and the crying continued. This is how chapter 40 ends, and in the next chapter we'll hear about the Dastarbandi, the ceremony where a turban is tied on the young son after their father passes away. So this will now be Harirai who's going to be taking place in this ceremony, because Tirmal is not there from Kartarpur. And that's where we're going to pick up next time. But as always, we'd like to thank those who have been supporting the podcast through the Mangalacharan Patreon page.
गाऊगा चढ़ के खालसे ना हारेगा तरला लाला मरेगा शरण परेगा ते तरेगा गज गज करा जावे गुरु हरगोबिंद साहब जे मन पावे निहाल हो जावे सत श्री अकाल।